the support groups that we have in the tribe is cultural eating. Because if you came from a different country or have different cultural heritage and background, no one teaches you that at your bariatric center, how to make sure that you're maintaining your culture. They just tell you, oh, don't eat rice. Oh, don't eat rice. And it's like, oh, okay. One of my clients, her and I had very lengthy conversations because she is Asian and she's like, rice is such a staple in our diet, but they'll tell you to eat quinoa, which is not no healthier when you look at the grain. Like, yes, there's a little bit of protein in there, but there's no reason, as long as someone tolerates it after surgery, where they can't have rice. And this is where my mind, like, again,
guess what, guys?
We're not doctors.
No, we are not.
If you're going to be making any major medical decisions, please consult your doctor.
That includes diets, exercise, medications, and surgery.
We love you guys.
And we want you to continue to be in our OSLP family forever.
So be careful and consult your doctors. We all need our vitamins after surgery, regardless of what you think.
Yes.
It's a must.
Yes. So why not choose the easiest and the best tasting in the community?
Seriously, it's ProCare, guys. ProCare is so delicious. I use their chewable for over a year. That's how I know.
Yes, and I love their capsules.
Yes.
Love them. They're once a day. I take them at night. Easy peasy, and my labs are fantastic.
Yeah, our labs are great, and I've actually switched to the capsules, and I take those at night now. So if you guys need your iron, they have them with iron, and they have them iron-free. They even have calcium chews.
Yes, the calcium chews, perfect. They have mocktail ones, chocolate. They have also some caramel and a cinnamon roll.
They're freaking delicious. So go over to procarenow.com and use our code OSLP to save some money.
Prepping and measuring your food post-op is a beast all in itself. But Portion Perfection has actually made it super, super simple. They have bowls, plates, and even a lunch bag called the Kit and Carry, where you can have all of the system ready to go.
Yeah, we love carrying that thing around with us. It's so much easier to pack your lunch, your snacks, especially when you're on a road trip. That thing is a lifesaver.
Yes.
So if you want to get these things to help your journey, just go over to portionperfection.com and use our code 15OSL-POD. And again, that's 15OSL-POD. And you can also go over to our Amazon storefront to pick out any of those that you would like to use.
Welcome back, OSLP family.
Welcome, welcome.
You are listening to our Sleeved Life podcast, and this is Kelly.
This is Mel.
And there is an exciting event that we're going to.
Yes.
In a all new place for us, which I know sounds crazy because we have been literally all over the place in the last year. But we are going to be in Chicago for the Chai Weekender, powered by ProCare, which you guys know we love them. We love that they're so in the community.
The community, the bariatric patients.
And this is being put on by Berry Adventures. Meg is her name, and she is fantastic. We love her idea and her concept for this.
It's all about the experience.
Yes.
So like we literally get to be with you guys the whole time. It's very intimate. It's only like 30 people at the most.
Yes.
So go get your tickets as fast as possible because we want to see you, because it's actually August 18th and this is going to release on August 15th. So you better go get your fucking ticket.
Yes. And we actually get to do a live podcast at the Moxie, which is a fabulous hotel. Oh my gosh. So we actually, go get your tickets for this. It's in our link in bio, but also we have a room block at the Moxie for the Just Be You Bariatric Award Show.
And it has your color.
It's all pink.
It's all pink.
All pink. And it's so cool because we went into the rooms and there's literally pink hair dryers in every room. And it is a matched color to me. So we matched it. Pretty fun.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that we get to actually do a live podcast from there in Chicago.
Yes. It'll be amazing.
We know that we're going to a comedy club in Chicago. We know that we're going to a Cubs game in Chicago. There's some sort of plane and sky thing happening.
Yes. There's lots going on and lots of opportunity to meet new people and have great conversations and just enjoy the life that you're living now.
Yeah, because you're supposed to experience life.
Yes.
That's the whole point of the surgery, really, for a lot of us, is to like get out of this trapped body.
Yep.
And then go experience life.
Exactly. So go get your tickets for that. While you're on your computer, also go to jbyawards.com and get your tickets because they are selling fast. And we want to see you there.
We do. Because we're going to be celebrating you guys.
Yes. On September 30th in Washington, D.C. at the Howard Theater. And it is a beautiful theater.
So freaking pretty.
We knew as soon as we walked in, it was our vibe. Mm-hmm. The people there are amazing. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. We do have kind of an announcement because we have set in stone.
Yep. Contracts are signed.
Contracts are signed. So Thursday night at 6 p.m.
Yes.
We are doing the live podcast. Then Friday morning.
And that's a free event.
It is a free event.
Anybody can show up for the live podcast
it's kind of
Thursday.
like our own branded welcome reception.
It's like a fun little welcome reception. Yeah. You get some food, you get some drinks. It's only going to be water.
Yes.
If you want alcohol, we'll
there
get that
are 3 other bars in the hotel.
Correct.
So we have access. Very excited for this next one.
Yes.
Friday morning, we are doing a wellness morning, and that includes a yoga session. And that also includes a sound bath, which we have never done before. And we are so stoked to be able to do it in Washington, D.C. with all of you guys. We will have tickets in our link in bio for that. That is, you do have to pay for that because we have to pay for the space.
Yep.
So, and we have to pay for the lady doing the sound bath and all of that good stuff.
All the equipment.
Yes. Yeah. So that we have that. Then we have the award show on Saturday. And then Sunday, we have our Benchy brunch. So if you are not a Benchy, you need to go over to patreon.com/OSLP and get signed up in the $7 or higher tier.
Yes.
So you can join in on that Benchy brunch.
And that is free for all of our Benchies.
Yes.
It's going to be on the rooftop. We're so excited.
Yes.
So we just want you to know we do give back to our Patreons, our patrons, because we love you guys. We literally wouldn't be doing what we're doing if it wasn't for you guys.
Yep.
So we like to always give it back. So just know every year when we do the JBY, there will be a Benchy brunch for you guys
the next morning.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Should we have to talk about YouTube.
We have to do YouTube real
quick. YouTube, go over to YouTube, preload it on your phone, type in our Sleeved Diet podcast. We are the only ones.
That's right.
And click subscribe and the little bell so you are notified when future videos like this one drop.
That's right.
Because we are talking to one of the fan favorites on our show.
That is
once again. And we have she's going to give us all the news.
There is some exciting brand new news coming.
Yes. So welcome back on the show, Jamie.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be back. I love being here with you guys and chatting about all the things. I'm also just so proud of you for all the things you guys have been doing for our community and hosting the last couple of years. And it's so great to see you guys.
Thank you.
And doing the thing.
Aww, we appreciate it. Same with you.
Yeah, man. You have done some incredible things. First off, for those that don't know, that the Sleeved Dietitian has their own T.R.I.B.E membership.
And it is amazing.
It is amazing. You need to go over there right now and use OSLP so that way you can get a discount and you get the membership. And there's just so many things to do there.
Yes. So, there's so much support built into your T.R.I.B.E membership. It's crazy how many things you have going on within the T.R.I.B.E.
Thank you. It's actually wild how it's grown. So anyone who does not know, I'm Jamie, the Sleeved Dietitian. I had weight loss surgery back in 2017, and I'm a registered dietitian. And it's my mission to bring better support and better resources to this community, because we all know that once you have surgery, unfortunately, the support is pretty scarce, and some of the misinformation floating around is also awful.
Yes.
So it's my mission to help people so that you can live the life you always wanted to without feeling like you have to be restricted to a diet forever. Granted, time and place after surgery, of course, but it's about figuring out like the new habits and making sure that the routines that you build for your life work for you long-term, not just in that first year after surgery.
Yes.
So it's a membership program. It's really my one-stop shop for everything bariatrics. It is where you can access all of my modules and coursework of the same process I teach my one-on-one clients step by step. There's literally dozens of resources and guides and videos on pretty much every topic you could want after surgery. And then every single month we give out new recipes, new topics and materials. We do different challenges. And probably the best part are our live support groups. We have up to 45 live events per month, including support groups and workshops. And my live Q&A.
45?
Holy moly.
Yeah, we have Yeah, we have 18 T.R.I.B.E leaders on our team. So our leadership team is primarily composed of bariatric patients. We do have a couple professionals who are not patients, but are in the space. But the majority are patients and professionals. We have a therapist, a psychologist. We have multiple dietitians. We have an exercise physiologist. We also have pretty new, we have a doctor and we have a nurse, registered nurse. We actually very recently with them on board have added anti-obesity medication support groups for those who are on GLP-1s as well. We have support groups, everything from pre-op to newly post-op to if you're struggling with regain. We have a support group for those who are neurodivergent and need special help with like habit planning. We have cultural eating support groups so that you can maintain your culture after surgery. Pretty much every like nuanced topic.
Yeah, you got it.
Most people don't talk about. This is what we have here in the membership. And there's literally something live basically every day.
Every day.
We also, you want to know something really exciting?
Yes.
Because we also, we come out with different calendars every month. The first of the month is when the calendar is launched. You can RSVP to as many of those live events as you want when you're a member. And we try really hard to accommodate as many time zones as we can, just between Eastern, Pacific, Central time, but we are international at this point and we have many international members. So we very recently added a group that is specific for evening time in Australia. So we have an 8 p.m. Australian time group, which ends up being 6 a.m. my time, which is Eastern time. But that actually does work for some of our members who get up early and then go to work. But because we have people in Australia, we have people in New Zealand. We added this group as well for all of our Australian members. And Anna, who's our Australian psychologist, runs those groups. So
that's so cool. Look at that. That's amazing. You are now international, girl.
We've been international for a little while, I will say, which is really cool. We have quite a few people in England too, which England is 5 hours ahead of us. So a lot of our noontime support groups, they'll come to at like 5 p.m. or whatnot, or our Saturday morning support groups are like afternoon their time. So it's definitely been a little bit of a puzzle to accommodate so many groups.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest questions I get is, oh my God, I'm in this country. Can I join? And I'm like, absolutely. Come join us.
Yeah. As long as you can find the time to hop in there, then you're good.
Really all that matters.
So it's just, it's my biggest passion. And that's my main resource that I provide to the community. But I do have others. I also this last week came out with my first ever course. It is Tackling Snacking. It's a bariatric mini course. The mini course is a terrible name for it when I look back because it's not mini at all. It's got 10 different modules. The reason it's called a mini course is because it is hyper focused on one topic versus multiple like the T.R.I.B.E is. So this is all about overcoming snacking and mindless eating in those habits. And that one is only $27.
That's such a great deal. Okay. And I don't know if you feel like this, but I feel like snacking is like the number one problem we have.
It is. That is literally one of the biggest struggles every bariatric patient seems to face, which is why I finally put out this course, because I really feel like everyone who is struggling with old habits coming in, it's always the snacking. And even in that first year post-op, it's still one of those habits that is so hard to kick because it's one of the like habits that we can still so easily engage in because while eating a full meal might be uncomfortable, sometimes having a bite here or there isn't. And it's so easy to like turn a blind eye when you're just having a bite or two and it doesn't feel like it's adding up very much. But then at the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, I've been just like grazing all day.
Exactly.
So whether you've had surgery, whether you're on a medication, whatever your situation is, like in the world of bariatrics, this habit is just essential to figure out how to pair your nutrients so that you're maximizing your, fullness and staying fuller longer and avoiding those things. So that's why I was like, you know what, let's get something out there for this. I don't think there's anything that exists that is specific to bariatric snacking, like this course is. And I wanted more people to be able to obtain it. So it's there. It's on my website.
Nice. Well, and how long do they have to sign up for that? Or is that just
that one? Whenever?
Okay.
Oh, look at that. And it doesn't have a time restriction.
I like that.
So both the T.R.I.B.E and this course don't have time restrictions. Really, the only thing that I put time restrictions on are, if I'm doing a group course or something that requires a lot of like live things on my personal schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, I tend to leave it up there because the last thing I want is someone to miss it and come to me 2 weeks later and be like, oh my God, I could use this. But, it doesn't benefit me. keep it from them. So
well,
yeah, for sure.
I'm glad that you did the snacking one, because like, I don't feel like I have snacking issues, but I know that like in the very beginning, you're eating every 2 to 3 hours. So you almost feel like you're snacking. And so I can see how easy it is to just fall into snacking.
And you that trajectory.
Yeah. Because we're kind of set up to do that, but we're told later on to do more like bigger meals, more denser meals. And so it's confusing.
Every center is different, but the other thing that is so frustrating is so many bariatric patients are told you're not allowed to have snacks. So many people are told like snacks are not allowed. So many people are told have a protein shake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's it. Like I hear that recommendation a lot.
Yeah.
And my first question is, how the heck are you meeting your protein goal if you can only eat like 2-3 times a day?
Yeah.
But secondly, again, bariatric patient, had weight loss surgery, have been on a GLP-1 medication. I still need snacks in the middle of the day. It's normal. One of the things I try and explain to people is it is normal to feel hungry. It's not a bad thing or a shameful thing to feel hungry. And I think we often feel like we shouldn't feel hungry, or we're happy. We just don't feel hungry at all because we don't have to think about it, which makes sense if we've struggled with food our whole lives.
Yeah.
But if your body's hungry, it's a sign that your body's working and your body is functioning properly. And we need to honor that and actually eat something. But we also don't want to be just picking at little things all day long. And in the course, I describe the difference between a snack versus snacking. And what I mean, two different words, because so
they are different.
They are different. And our mindset behind choosing those things is different. And that's what I really bring light to. And I give very real life examples in the course about, if you are picking all day long and this is where potentially your calories could add up. Whereas if you were to actually eat more at your meals, actually eat more at your snacks, actually have more variety, your calories actually come out less at the end of the day, even though it feels like you've eaten more, you're actually taking in less calorically than when you're just picking at the little things all day long. And that is usually like mind blowing once you start to connect those pieces. So honestly, my favorite topic to teach, which is another reason why I made it into a course, because not only is it so prevalent, but I get excited when people have those aha moments and it just all seems to fall into place.
Right.
Well, I mean, even you just saying there's a difference between having a snack and snacking, that's like mind blowing to me because it's true, but you don't really think about it. You're just like, oh, I'm not allowed to have snacks.
Right.
But it's like, no, you're allowed to have a snack.
What happens when you're just told no?
You want to do the other thing.
You want it more.
Yeah.
Everyone else has a rebellious teenager inside of us, a defiant child that's like, well, screw you. I'm going to go have whatever I want because you're telling, and especially when you're told just outright no, it doesn't matter if you choose a really healthful snack or a not so healthful one at the end of the day, because you already feel shamed no matter what you're choosing.
Right. Yeah.
Talk about that too, because I would so much rather you make an empowered decision for yourself, listen to your body, choose a snack when you're hungry, and then productively create a mindful snack that is balanced and that is both appetizing and satiating to you, as well as filling and helping you hit your goals, versus trying so hard to just not have anything and then feeling like a failure at 2 p.m. when you're hungry because you shouldn't be, because someone told you that you're not allowed to have a snack. So in that case, you start the grazing, binging, rummaging cabinets all afternoon and night cycle when you get home from work. That is what happens to so many people every day. And I don't even think that's particularly unique to the bariatric community. I think people in general who struggle with their weight, many women have been really shamed for overeating their whole lives and have these frustrating relationships with our bodies. Maybe some people grew up looking at their moms, the quote almond moms that are like, just have 3 almonds and you're good. It's not realistic. We need to fuel ourselves, and that's ultimately what I help bariatric patients do. I actually have a whole chapter in my book that is coming out. It's all about nutrition after bariatric surgery. And I start off the chapter by saying, nutrition is what you will eat, not what you won't eat. And we so often focus on what we won't eat and eating. Did I freeze for a second?
Yeah, you're good.
So what I was saying is, we so often, when we think about nutrition after surgery, we think about tiny portions, keeping it small, keeping it like, less is better, just protein. And we focus on what we're not going to eat versus nutrition is fueling yourself. Nutrition is giving your body adequate nutrients. In my training to be a dietitian, in our clinicals, and when you're working in the hospital as a clinical dietitian, our number one job is to feed people. Our job is to, whether you are on some type of medically supervised diet for, heart disease or something, or you are on a tube feed where we have to feed you through, formulas. Our job as dietitians is to make sure you are getting adequate nutrition. It is not to focus on what you can't eat. It's to focus on what you can to get your needs met. And that is true for bariatric patients also.
I feel like in the beginning of my bariatric journey, it was like, okay, how little can I eat? Mm-hmm. And then it became, okay, how far can I push the point? It
sounds like Kelly,
right? Yeah. Like, okay, how much little food I can eat. And then what can I push the point on also? Mm-hmm. But then I was full of saying, I can't eat this. I can't eat this. I can't have that.
Mm-hmm. And then Kelly, what happened down the line when you could eat that or you did?
I ate it all very much in high volume.
How did you feel?
Like crap. Like
you felt like probably like you failed because you were eating more.
Yep.
And the reason
I also feel like that's the reason why I regained as quickly that I did, because I was so focused on the not good side.
Yeah.
And that's one of my biggest, and honestly, Kelly, I just want to validate everything you said and know that you're not alone in that experience. We've talked about it before, but anyone here listening, if that's you too, you're not alone. And I think one of the biggest disservices done to this community, we are an underserved population. We are not taught how to eat for life. We're taught how to eat in those first 6 months after surgery when, and my motto is all foods can fit, just not all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't want anyone to mistake anything I'm saying for being like, oh, well, I don't need to be on that post-op diet. You do. Yeah. Your post-op diet given after surgery is there for a reason. It is not implied. It is not optional.
It is not suggested.
It is not suggested.
It's required.
Yes, it's required and you are agreeing to it.
Yeah. Yes.
However, unfortunately, because support is scarce, because there's a lot of gaps in our system, which I also talk about in our book and our medical system as a whole, even the most well-meaning centers and practitioners who want you to succeed don't always have the bandwidth or capacity to support you, especially if there's limitations with your healthcare or you yourself are not willing to go back to see your dietitian or are not able to, whatever the situation is. Because at a certain point, that very strict post-op diet needs to be expanded on. And you need to be taught how to strategically add carbs back in and how to add fiber back in and create that balance and get out of that all or nothing thinking with food that so many of us don't actually overcome after surgery because we went from all to the nothing. And we think that we need to stay in this nothing place. And then when we can't, we feel like a failure and we're back to all.
Yep.
And it's that never ending vicious cycle.
Well, I wasn't even say take it even one step further back where we're not only just taught during our post-op, just that 1 year of how to eat. No one has ever really taught us, even as kids or as young adults, how to eat and why we have to eat a certain way. I know that is a big deal. There's nothing in the health classes about it. There really should be. And I don't know if I'm the first one to think of this, but I'll take it and we should run with it. And I know Jamie would like it. I think that there should be a dietitian in every school.
Oh, yeah.
So you took the words out of my mouth. I've said that so many times. So the frustrating piece is, so there are some school systems that do have a dietitian, but it's not many. The dietitians, well, let me just clarify. There are many school system dietitians. However, their role is not usually active in the classrooms. And if it is, it's usually probably one within the district traveling, trying to do education, but their primary job is to do the school lunch menus. And every dietitian who goes through their internship rotations, like I did, has to do a school system, school food service rotation.
Oh, really?
Those are the hardest rotations because you are plopped into a school system and given an absurdly low budget, and you have to create menus that meet kind of ridiculous guidelines set by the government. So you might have to have I think 2 grains on your plate is one of the goals. But if you only have 37 cents per kid per meal, how are you going to do that while also meeting the dairy goal and while also meeting the veggie goal and everything else? And I don't want anyone to quote me verbatim because I haven't been in a school system for a long time. So anything I just spewed out could potentially be incorrect.
I think
you have to do things.
Yeah.
But what it should be we have that's a whole other conversation, whole other issue. But I firmly believe that we should have a dietitian, like you just said, Mel, in the school system,
in the classroom. Yeah.
Teaching, especially one of one of the best documentaries that I watched, we had community nutrition classes in school where it was, it's called A Place at the Table. And it talks about food scarcity and food deserts within our own country. And it talks about, in inner cities where all you have available is like bodegas. You don't have like full grocery stores, or out in like rural farmlands where there's hardly anything out there too. And a lot of these kids, especially in the more, inner city aspect of things where they aren't getting access to fresh fruits and vegetables, some of them don't know like what a blueberry is. They've never seen one. They've never been exposed to one. And this is where it can be a real challenge to be able to get kids exposure to those foods. It's like, how do we do that when they're not available? And this is a whole other like conversation and a really big systemic issue that I'm not even going to pretend to even know how to fix.
Yeah.
But when you fast forward and you look at all of the adults who struggle with obesity, many of us struggled with obesity as children. And I'm sure there are many people listening to this who, maybe grew up where they didn't have that access to food, or they didn't have that access to education, or their parents weren't able to purchase fresh fruits and veggies, or it's like a foreign concept to them, or, one of the...
all know how difficult post-op life can be.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking hard, guys.
Yes. And so a way to make it a little bit easier is by joining the T.R.I.B.E membership program. It has been created by a registered dietitian. She's actually the Sleeved Dietitian on Instagram. Her name is Jamie. And she's created this whole membership program just to support us.
Yeah, like we've had her on the podcast. We love her to freaking death. And then 2, like she has full experts in their field that help you. And they've had bariatric surgery, almost every one of them.
Yes.
And the sleep dietitian is freaking smart because she has almost a support group every single day, guys. Yes. You're going to get an email. It's going to tell you which ones are for today. And you can just sign up and hang out with people that are just like you. And I've even used the journal prompts. I'm into journaling, and that was way helpful to just go somewhere that can help you and just get your mind going.
Yes.
So if you need this kind of support, which a lot of us do, go to her website and use our code OSLP at checkout to get your discount.
While we were in Florida, we got to visit one of our favorite bariatric surgeons, Dr. Donald Fridley at Surgical Associates of Bayonet Point. And when we say that they are patient focused, they are patient freaking focused. They tailor make all their plans to the unique needs of each patient.
It's an in-body scanner.
We both got to use it.
We both got to use it. And you get to do it pre-op and post-op. So that way you can see all the differences and all the changes that happen. And he's also one of the surgeons that does his surgery with robotics. And we got to play with that
We
too.
did.
So we were
so cool.
We were so excited. And we want you to have such a special care that they give. So go over to SABPweightloss.com right now.
Or give their office a call at 727-819-9107.
That's right. So, and tell them that the OSLP girls sent you, and they're going to take great care of you.
Yeah.
The support groups that we have in the tribe is cultural eating. Because if you came from a different country or have different cultural heritage and background, no one teaches you that at your bariatric center, how to make sure that you're maintaining your culture. They just tell you, oh, don't eat rice.
Yeah.
Oh, don't eat
Okay.
rice. And it's like, oh, okay. One of my clients, her and I had very lengthy conversations because she is Asian, and she's like, rice is such a staple in our diet, but they'll tell you to eat quinoa, which is
not
no healthier when you look at the grain. Like, yes, there's a little bit of protein in there, but there's no reason, as long as someone tolerates it after surgery, where they can't have rice. And this is where my mind, like, again, I scream all of this on my pages in my book because it's so infuriating to me, because rather than just telling someone no, why don't we teach them how to have it in a way that helps them hit their goals?
Yeah. We need to. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, instead of telling someone you can't have rice, say, of course you can have rice. You're of Asian descent, and that is one of your cultural foods, and we would never take that from you. This is how we suggest eating it so that it works for your goals. And that's just one of many, many
love
nuances.
that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's mind-boggling that we just make people feel such, like, we already feel shame towards our bodies. So many people, like, at baseline for so many various reasons, but to add this additional shame when there should be none, to feel shame for feeling hungry, to feel shameful for eating, it's like, this is what we need. And it's like, how do we start to deconstruct that? Like, and those are some of the things people don't think about when you struggle with your weight or when you're in this bariatric world, is we all have so much of this baggage.
Yeah.
And then, just to simplify things, like, well, of course we're going to struggle with snacks.
Yeah.
Yep. It's much more complicated than most people realize.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the snacks that we've been provided even as young adults and kids weren't the greatest.
No,
and
I would never eat half of what are considered kid snacks.
Right. And it's interesting because I even hear my friends that have younger kids and they'll be like, well, I had to buy it because, it's for the kids. And it's like, actually, you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't have to buy that. You're just choosing to because they label it as a kid's snack, but it's not. And like none of us should be eating some of this shit.
Like, fellow 90s kids.
Yeah.
Like some of
right here.
Those snacks in the 90s were actually pretty wild. I don't like to shame foods because I don't want to put that negative value, but there are definitely foods that were just wildly high in sugar. I'm pretty sure the 90s is responsible for Gushers, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And as kids, of course you want Gushers. You don't want the fresh fruit. You want the Gusher.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's got so much sugar in it that it gets you hooked immediately. And then you just want more of it. So I grew up in a house where my mom could not afford to buy the typical kid snacks.
Yeah, the little chips.
Yeah. We didn't have chips. We didn't have juice. We didn't have Go-Gurts. We had the big container of yogurt that if we wanted it, we had to spoon it out and eat it that way. We didn't have the little kids stuff. So it wasn't until I started going to my friends' houses that I started realizing, oh, well, they have fruit snacks. Why haven't I ever had fruit snacks? I used to go over to her house and steal the Gushers because I loved Gushers and my mom couldn't afford to buy them.
Oh my God. My little brother still eats those. He's 20. He'll be 21.
I love a good Gusher.
Yeah. My mom is still we got to buy the Gushers. I don't know.
You're he's 20. He's not a kid anymore. Yeah. So, I grew up in a house where I didn't get those snacks, but now seeing them and reading what's on it because, I'm one of those flippers. So I always pick something up from the grocery store and flip it around to see what's in it. It's the grab and flip.
Yeah. We learned
and that. And I am floored continually by how much added sugar is in cereals, yogurts, ice cream, any of the things.
Don't look at cranberry juice.
Oh yeah, cranberry juice.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's awful.
So by the time this comes out, you will hear us talk to the sugar detox lady.
Yes.
She's amazing.
Yes.
And the fact that the labels are lies is still making me upset.
Boggles your mind.
It still boggles my mind that there's a percentage. So the FDA allows up to 20% ink misrate or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's a mistake on the label.
They're allowed up to 20%.
20%, that's a huge amount that you could be wrong.
Off. Yeah, and it's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. And then they can not tell you what certain things are in there as long as it's underneath a threshold so that it can be 0%. Yeah. You're mad at this too. I know it. This is just.
Well, it's
so frustrating.
It's telling to one of the other points that I bring up a lot. And this might be an unpopular opinion in our community, and that's okay. I'm always good for an unpopular opinion.
Same.
I don't think tracking is the end all be all to success. And if it were, I don't think many of us would have needed surgery. Granted, I do think tracking and potentially tracking macros or calories is a useful tool for some people.
Yes.
I'm not telling you not to track if you are a tracker. Personally, I think everyone should be at least tracking generally their protein. But, there are a lot of people that are really gung-ho on tracking every calorie or tracking every macro. And I just personally don't think that that's sustainable, nor do I feel like it tells us it's not always accurate unless you're exactly weighing everything. And to your point, not even on the label is it exact.
Right.
This is why I preach creating high quality meals that are satisfying and filling without having to hyper focus on the number every second so that you can make better decisions based on listening to your body, making sure that you're getting your protein in. And not to confuse people, I also am not what people might label an intuitive eating dietitian either. I do think we need more guidance than that personally, another maybe polarizing opinion. But I think that there's a middle ground where you don't have to be hyper focusing on every number, every macro, but where you're not just having all the things all the time just because it's easier. So it's figuring out and this is where I truly believe in really strong nutrition education so that even without and I do teach in my book how to deconstruct and read a nutrition label for guidance, especially when it does come to choosing different processed items and such. But which is also an important part of your diet, is having that variety. I'm also not someone to tell you not to have something processed. We all have those things in our diet. And I have a whole chapter on why I feel strongly about that too. But it all comes back to being realistic. And that's the thing that is so hard. I think it's unrealistic to track every single piece of food that goes into your body and giving it a numeric value every single time. I think it's unrealistic to be on a diet forever. I think it's unrealistic to not have any boundaries with ourselves and our habits, especially as bariatric patients who have this history of all sorts of baggage, as I said, whether that be disordered eating or struggled or whatever. And this is where everyone's journey truly is so unique and so different. And this is another area where we come up short, I just think, in bariatrics is everyone is handed a one size fits all binder at their surgical center and said, here's your protein goal. Here's your water goal. Here's the list of all the things to not eat. Good luck. And everyone's lives are different. Everyone's routines are different. I was actually just talking today with another dietitian. One of my least favorite phrases ever is we all have the same 24 hours in a day. No, we don't. We do not. I do, a single working mom of 3 with 2 jobs does not have the same hours in a day as myself from a double income household with no children. It is different. So to put that blame on people that they're not working hard enough, it's no, let's meet this person where they're at with what capacity they have so that they can make really great choices. And this is where education, support, empathy, all of these things come into play versus just shaming people for, well, just eat less and move more. You have the same 24 hours a day, just work harder, just do it.
No.
And it's no, that's not realistic. That's not helping anybody.
No.
Well, and we've noticed it doesn't help anybody because we've all been told move more, eat less, and still having the same problems.
Correct. And at the end of the day, yes, calories in, calories out is how you lose weight.
Yes.
But that does not, and ultimately you need to be in that deficit to lose weight. We're not trying to defy science here. The thing is, obesity is such a complex, multi-layered disease with many elements to it.
Yes.
Whether that be mental health struggles, neurodivergency. I just got diagnosed with ADHD this last year and my whole life makes a lot more sense. But when you think about, I'll just use myself as an example. No wonder I had impulsive eating behaviors my whole life that I never seemed to be able to stop even though I wanted to. There was a literal lack of dopamine in my brain causing me to seek that out. So it was a lot harder, especially add in PCOS that I had and increased hunger and decreased satiety and all of these hormonal things. I needed to probably be in a better calorie deficit, but what I was burning in my expenditure was probably lower for so many reasons. And it was so much harder to control those habits. So if someone is struggling to just eat less or move more, we have to ask why. And back to my point of everyone has different hours in the day. Everyone has different stressors in their lives. Everyone has different responsibilities. So this blanketed one size fits all and this really ignorant term of just work harder, just eat less, move more. Ultimately, yes, but also not so much because there's so much more to dig in there and to look at.
Well, it's just bullshit. It's they're just trying to simplify it as much as they can and not actually go into the layers of what actually affects you, because what affects me to gain weight or lose weight is completely different than both of you ladies. So it's you can't just say move more, eat less. We need to have, I like to know the why. I like to know the how. I like to know the when. I need more than just those 2 items. Give me more.
Again, that guidance isn't really helping anyone.
No, it never has.
No, it was.
People hate going to the doctors because they get tired of hearing it.
Exactly. And for me, there's sometimes I can't move. So what do you do with that? Because if you're a disabled person where you have actual diseases that are running rampant through your body, how can you say that am going to receive the same care or same advice as somebody that has a full health?
Right.
You can't, you
give us the same information.
Yeah.
That would be wild if they were doing that for anything else.
Yeah.
If we had say we both had a hip problem and then they give us both the same hip routine. That's not going to work. Why is it any different?
It goes back, and this is one of my driving points in my book and where I kind of start off my book too, is weight stigma and bias is so awful and real. The world, unfortunately, we're just labeled as being fat and lazy and don't care about our health or have, there's all sorts of wild stigmas around people who struggle with their weight. And people don't get jobs because of their weight because people discriminate against them. It's absolutely horrific. And the assumptions that are made are wild. And it's a very real struggle that we face.
Well, I was actually going to say, even with your name, like having a sleeved dietitian, like the dietitian part, I hear from people like back in the day that they were like, I have to go see a dietitian. Like it was a bad thing. Like it was like, oh no.
Yeah.
What did you what
did you do?
What did
you have to go
to
see a dietitian? Like,
so they're like, what are they going to do to your food? Like they were always so worried. And so it has to be even like just as hard as a dietitian to get through that stigma and then actually get to people you can actually help, because there's such of the stigma around everything, anything that has to deal with obesity. There's so much drama and problems.
Yeah. I remember when I went to my primary care physician, which she was amazing. She was trying to help me because I said, like, I'm gaining weight rapidly. Like, this is not a small thing.
Yeah.
And so her first answer, because I brought up surgery, and she said, well, why don't we try this first? And she referred me, to this weight loss clinic. And I didn't want to go there because I felt like a failure. And then I called them, and the lady was so fucking rude to me on the phone and was just like, you could tell she had a whole bias against anybody who called. I was just like, I felt defeated. And then I never made the appointment. Like, and then I think a few years passed, and then I finally went and saw a surgeon.
I don't think Heather was on board with weight loss surgery because I told her that my brother did it and that I wanted to do it. And then she's like, okay, well, because I have metal in my leg. I have a titanium from knee down, 5 screws in my ankle, 2 screws in my knee. And she was like, well, first, we're going to want to remove all that. And I looked at her. I'm like, why would I need to remove all that? And she's like, well, you said it was really hard for you to work out. But I was like, yeah, well, right after surgery.
Yeah.
Like, I'm almost 10 years out from that surgery. Like, I should not have to remove the hardware in my leg so I can get weight loss surgery. Like, that just seems appalling.
Yeah, it seems backwards.
And we really like Heather. So we were like,
she was great. I mean, she was actually the one that caught that I had arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah. So she's a great doctor. It's just that bias of obesity.
It's also really telling that doctors, even fantastic ones, are not treating obesity as the disease that it is.
No, correct.
And it's also really frustrating when our own medical system is disregarding bariatrics, which bariatrics is the branch of medicine that treats obesity both through medical and surgical means.
Yeah.
And it's completely disregarding an entire branch of medicine when you do that. And it keeps people from getting the help and the care they deserve. And it so I wasn't planning on doing this. So I figured I would ask first, but I was thinking maybe I could read a small excerpt from my book and how I open up the book and the introduction.
Yes. Of course. I was also going to add, before you do that, can you are you allowed to let us know what the name of the book is?
Yes, because I've released it publicly already.
Okay. So let everybody know about the book.
Yes.
So I've mentioned it a few times, but I've been public about it on my Instagram page because I've taken you on this journey with me, but I have written and I am officially publishing my first book.
Yay!
And it has been a dream of a lifetime to get to do this. And we are in the final production stages. We are putting all the loose ends together. It will be out by this September. Please make sure that you follow for more details on release date and pre-order date. I'm also going to be, and I can give more details on this towards the end of the show, but I am also going to be recruiting a street team to help me not just promote the book, but get extra special bonus chapters and early access to things and private access to my release launch party. So we have a lot of fun things coming up, but ultimately the book is called The Easy Way Out: Why Bariatrics Isn't Cheating Obesity, It's Treating It. The whole book goes through the stigma of obesity. And the reason it's called The Easy Way Out is because everyone always says it's the easy way out, and that could not be farther from the truth. So every step of the way through this book, both through my own personal journey and my own personal experiences, both as a patient and a professional, getting to see both sides of things. I talk about the stigmas. I talk about the gaps in our system. I talk about the things that we are coming up short on. I talk about my own experiences, both good and bad. I talk about kind of all of the factors that go into a bariatric journey, again, that most people wouldn't think about. And the whole purpose is to bring better care, better advocacy, better education to people who struggle with their weight, and not just like assuming that they are lazy or assuming that they don't care. And I talk about so many, basically pretty much every topic I could go through in this book is everything that I'm just so passionate about, but the things that other people might not say, unpopular opinion. Lots of truth bombs. That's
why we love you, because we love the truth bombs.
Yeah. I can see this as like, okay, I'm getting surgery. Here's the book. You need to read it first.
I really hope so. I did send this book out to a couple of beta readers when I had the first draft of the manuscript to get feedback. I sent it out to both patients who are post-op as well as pre-op. And one of the beta readers who was pre-op, and most of these readers I did not know personally. They were people that I had never really had conversations with.
Okay.
So the person who was pre-op I did not know personally.
Oh, good.
So to get some real honest feedback. And she said that this book was everything she needed before surgery. She said that it made her even more prepared, and she's so glad she read it beforehand because it made her just feel seen and heard. And that was my whole point. And this book is part memoir because it is a lot of my own journey. It's certainly not just my journey. I hope that every person who has ever struggled sees a bit of themselves in this. And I truly wrote this book with the entire bariatric community in mind. I want this to be our story together of how we've overcome immense odds and how we're still fighting for proper treatment, proper care, proper support, all of the things that we deserve because we are this underserved population. I also hope that this book makes its way to lots of bariatric professionals who continue to bring amazing care to our community so that they can understand better from the patient perspective. I do also advocate for the professionals because I think it's easy sometimes to blame our centers for not giving us the support or not giving us what we need. But I also do talk about the constraints that so many amazing practitioners are under just because of our medical system and the barriers in place and all of the things. So this book is pretty much all encompassing of bariatric struggles. I also hope this book can be very useful to family members and friends of loved ones going through this process so that they can better understand the journey. I talk a lot about just emotional changes, a lot of those hard things. We talk in this book about addiction and overcoming transfer addictions. We talk about mental health. We talk about the mindset work. We talk about the nutrition. We talk about all the habits that go into it. We talk about the grief that you experience when you are letting go of old versions of yourself or even people in your life that you must walk away from in order to continue to thrive in those really hard topics. So there's kind of no holding back in this book. And everything there is riddled with evidence and research to back up all of the things that we have. So it's really just bringing to light the entire process and journey. And that's what it's about in order to get more people care. And I hope that there are people who fall in this book who, it lands on their page or on their Amazon page and they find it and they realize that they too are part of this community because there are so many people who don't realize that they could be a bariatric patient, that don't think that this support is there for them, that don't think that they are there yet. And again, this goes back to kind of what Kellie was saying with her doctor. Was like, well, let's try this first. And this is where I'd love to read the excerpt from my book, because why are we not getting people the support in this disease that they deserve sooner before it progresses so long?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's the one that gets me mad.
Yeah.
Because I know why. It's fucking money. It's greed and money.
Yeah.
And
and I think it's stuck in a lot of people's heads as weight loss surgery is the last resort.
Yeah.
And we actually just talked about this on Dr. Spencer's podcast also, is that why is this the last resort? Why is it in our brains that we have to fail, and I'm using quotes around that, fail so hard that we have to get surgery when this is actually safer than most gallbladder, it's safer than gallbladder surgery. Yeah. And it's the most effective treatment for obesity. So why are we looking at like, I'll start another diet first. Let me try working with a trainer first. Why are we saying that we need to do all these things first in order to get the most effective treatment?
Well, and I would say it's because like what we learned from whoever we talked to so many people, but like, with even our own doctors, only like 1% was what we were told, right?
I actually wrote it down.
You knew what I was going to say.
I wrote it down.
Because only
less than 1% of physicians are trained in obesity medicine.
And obesity medicine. Like that is so.
Think about all the doctors that are in this world. Like go to Google and type in doctor and see all of the millions of people that are doctors. Less than 1% of those are trained in obesity medication.
And which doesn't make sense because I think like the stat is like almost like 70 plus for obesity people in the world. So
how does that make sense? Like, let's look at it. Realistically, how does that make sense? Saying. Because they want to push us in a corner. They don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
That is not attractive, is basically what that's what I hear.
It's a turnoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are pulling, and this is where it's so important because all the things that you are saying are the things that I talk about in my book, because I've had the very same question. And that's where, I can read the excerpt if you want, but like, it's true. We are underutilizing the most effective form of treatment.
Yeah. And it just it boggles my mind because like, I should have been referred. I never even was referred. No one ever told me.
Your doctor.
No one ever told me to even do this. This was just because my brother did it because our father died. Like it had nothing to do with an actual medical professional being like, hey, we think this would be a good option for you. That never happened to it actually didn't happen to my brother at 450 pounds. It didn't happen with me at 308. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. And it's wild that you actually say that because my PCP is trained in obesity medicine and she is surgery either.
Yeah. Oh, so she's trained and didn't mention the surgery. That's wild to me.
How does that even make sense?
Like there should just be options. Instead of just saying move,
diet and exercise.
Yeah. Give me the options.
Yeah.
Like you give out medicine for anything else. Why are we like locking the obesity medicine in like a little box and being like, it's kind of there. It's not there.
Well, but we find it through the same thing through GLP-1s. Like insurances aren't covering them because why? Like there's no solid answer to why aren't you covering them? Like if this is going to make me healthier, I'm going to be able to lose weight. Therefore, I won't have heart disease, diabetes, strokes, all the things that come from being obese.
Cancer.
And we're actually going to save you money because you're not going to have to pay out for all that medication, all those other surgeries. Tell me why you won't cover the one medication.
It proves that they don't want to save any money. They don't. They are in the market to make money, not save money.
And also part of the barrier to the GLP-1s, which let me tell you, I got 2 whole chapters on those in my book.
Yes. Oh, good. I can't wait to read those. Yes. I mean, I'm excited for the whole book, but especially those because,
my editor, because she was editing it as I was writing it. And one day someone within our own bariatric community said something really nasty about other bariatric patients on GLP-1s, which there's been other bariatric patients hating on the GLP-1s.
It's so weird.
It's so odd, but I was particularly aggravated that day. It's a great day. And instead of being a keyboard warrior, I was like, I'm going to my actual keyboard and I am going to get this out in my book. And I got down everything I wanted to say and scream to the world about the benefits of these medications and all these things. And my editor was like, so I really love your passion. She's like, it does sound a bit like you're yelling at your readers. So you might want to tone this back a little bit.
Yes. You're like, that was the whole point.
That's how you know the passion was there.
I'm yelling at them. They are not listening. She's like, I know. But so we revised it so it's a little gentler, but I'm still very passionate.
Oh,
good. Don't lose that passion.
Never. Oh, there is passion in this entire book. And that's where I just spoke from my heart and my soul. And I shared my own experiences. I also shared a lot about my own experiences. What's really interesting is I have been in the medical field as both an obese person and someone in a straight size body. Mm-hmm. So I was a dietetic intern finishing up my clinical rotations when I was in the process to have surgery. No one knew it at the time. So I was in the heaviest body I had ever been in, working in the hospitals. So talking about just like weight stigma and stereotypes there, because it's really hard to introduce yourself as the dietitian or the dietetic intern when you're almost 300 pounds.
Yep.
And everyone looks at you like there's no way.
Yeah.
But then, you know, getting down to one of my smallest sizes I ever was, I started a new job once I was credentialed, and, you know, later that summer after I had my surgery, and no one had ever known me as someone who was heavy. And the wild things that I worked in a skilled nursing facility, and the wild things I would hear other practitioners and clinicians say about our obese residents. And it's almost like I got to kind of hide because I was in a smaller body. So they didn't think they were saying anything offensive to me.
Yeah.
But I was so wildly offended and so angry. I'm like, these patients deserve the same level of care that every other patient in this building does. And for you to discriminate against them because they are, one of the terms that they use in clinical settings is, so like if we got an admission from the hospital to our facility that needed a bariatric bed, that doesn't mean they're a bariatric patient. It means they need a larger bed. Yes. They would call it like a bariatric bed. And sometimes they'd be like, okay, we're admitting this patient. They need a bariatric bed. And everyone in the room would like groan, like, oh,
wow.
And I heard about that in my book. It's so, and it's like, they don't want to have to
deal with
them in bed, or it's more work, whatever it is, it's wrong. But on the same token, our healthcare system isn't helping us.
No.
So, but what do you know what I mean? Because they disregard the fact that it's a disease. It is labeled as you're lazy. This is a you problem. This is a moral failing on your part. And you should have taken care of this.
Yep.
Then when you ask for help, you're met with bullshit advice to, well, have you tried this BS diet? Because our doctors, well, you'll go to them because you're struggling and they'll be like, you should really do paleo, or you should really do intermittent fasting, or you just need to cut everything out of your diet and just eat like nothing.
Yep.
And it's like, again, what is that helping? Literally nobody.
No one.
Literally nobody.
Yep.
Most people that hear that gain more weight.
Yeah.
They're like,
well, you stress out then.
And you're trying to find the things. And
so
then you
I
don't
was
eat the right
actually
things.
the doctor that actually accused me of drug seeking.
Yes.
It was right before my surgery, like probably 2 or 3 weeks out. Like it was going to happen soon. And I was referred to him for acupuncture. Okay. He then decided that he was going to redo my pain medication. Then when it came to, I was like, well, I am having surgery, so I'm going to be starting, I'm going to have a weight loss surgery. He tried to talk me out of it and then tried to sell me broths. And told me how I should do an elimination diet and I should buy these products from them because then that way I could lose the weight naturally.
It's always natural.
I actually forgot about this whole thing. Like until just now you were talking about it and I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Like, no.
Yeah. And then he accused me to be a drug seeker. And then I said, fuck you. I'll show you drug seeker. So I never took another pain med.
You didn't.
I was like, no, I'm not taking it.
You probably did.
Once this book is officially published, I'm going to keep it in a backpack, like a bunch of copies. And when I meet stupid people saying stupid bullshit things, I'm just going to chuck it at their head.
Do it.
Oh my God.
Just always have one on you at all times.
Read this.
Yes.
Just understand.
Yes.
It's so like, I don't understand why it's so hard for other people to understand. And all you have to, and it's so, you realize how prevalent this is. As soon as you go to like an Instagram or a TikTok, like video that's gone viral for someone in the community losing weight, and you look at all the comments. Oh, I thought you did it naturally. Guess not. Oh, must be nice to just have surgery. Unlike the rest of us who have to actually work hard. I got a comment about that recently on one of my posts because I posted something about, losing some of my regain. And I've been incredibly transparent about my usage of Mounjaro and GLP-1 medications because by me hiding that, that's not helping anyone. I'm not ashamed of my choices. I'm not ashamed to need another tool. This is a disease.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any on how hard I've been working all along. I need another tool and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I posted one of my recent like transformation pictures because I've been on Mounjaro for almost a year now. And someone said something along the lines of, must be nice to get to have surgery and be on a medication. Some of us have to just do it the old fashioned way.
Oh.
And I'm like,
you mean you're not enlightened and you haven't read anything? Cool. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Must be nice. Some of us aren't that like she was so passive aggressive and rude. And I'm like, sigh.
Right?
Yeah.
Like some of us don't.
I don't entertain, I don't respond. And if they're majorly hurtful at that point, I just block and delete. Because if you're hurting me in my space on the internet, you're going to hurt others in my space on the internet. And I don't want that for anybody.
Yep. And we don't condone that.
No. No. And it goes the same way of the bariatric surgery world, shaming other people for being on GLP-1s. Like,
yeah, that's the new thing.
Any route.
I feel like people just need something to pick on someone for. It just is ridiculous. You cannot win with some of these people.
Oh, for sure. And I have definitely learned that over this last year, that you just cannot win with some of these people.
And you know what? If you need to pride yourself off of my struggles,
cool.
That is a direct reflection of you and your issues.
Yep.
And if anyone listening to this, if that makes you feel uncomfy, I'm glad it makes you feel uncomfy. I want you to think about why.
Yeah.
Because if you need to judge other people to feel better, if you need to look at someone who is using a secondary tool to support them, and your way of priding yourself is like, well, I could do it without it, or thinking that you are somehow above someone else for not needing such a tool. Again, I truly encourage you and welcome you and invite you to explore why that is.
Yeah. I invite you to
something that you might not be addressing. And again, and that's something to maybe know going into reading my book. If while reading my book at any point in time, which I hope people want to read my book and that they enjoy reading it. And I hope it brings them an immense amount of clarity and understanding and joy reading it. And I want them to feel heard, but I also want it to provoke change.
Yeah.
I want, and one of the things I have learned the hard way is if I am triggered by something that someone says or does, that's not a reflection of that person. That is an invitation for me to explore why that is and look closer at myself.
Yeah. I think that's anytime you feel uncomfortable, you probably should sit in that uncomfortability and figure out why, no matter what it is.
Correct. And granted, I'm sure there are things that people might just very much have a disagreement on or not like some of my viewpoints. And that is okay too. You are allowed to disagree with my stance on something. Yeah. Anyone is, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're in the bariatric community or not, if you're a bariatric patient who's on medications or not, whatever it might be, it is unfair to look at anybody else and judge. And here's the other thing. We all as humans are going to judge. We all are going to have our own bias. We all have our own shit to work through, myself included. And one of the things I do talk about in the book is when I was at the beginning of my journey, and I say this very honestly, and I'll share it here too. When I was in those first 6, 7, 8 months and things were going great. And I was at I surpassed a lot of goals and I was losing quickly and felt really good. I can remember seeing other people in the community and I never said anything, but thinking to myself is oh my God, how have they regained so much? That's feeling bad, but also being glad that's not me. I'm not going to let that happen.
Right.
That'll be me. And I say in my book, well, in that moment, the universe said, let's humble her real quick and realize that she's not immune to any struggles that anyone else is. And it's, and I struggled to keep it off. I struggled to stay at my lowest. Most people don't stay at their lowest. And I talk about that too. Trying to stay at your lowest is usually an unrealistic goal to be at, try and focus on too. But no one in this community is any better than anyone else. And a lot of people pride themselves off of being able to eat less or maybe hitting a different goal. And again, this is all of us coming from a place where we don't ever intend to judge others, but sometimes we do because we have our own baggage to work on. And I hope throughout this journey and this process, you do so much more than just lose weight. I hope you truly work on yourself and reinvent yourself and look at those habits that you used to self-sabotage and learn to be truly, truly happy within yourself and your body and your work on your own mental health so that you can continue to support others in really beautiful ways versus continuing to judge or continuing to look at other people in different ways, because we're all, and I think by reading my book, you'll realize we're all a lot similar than we realize.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for this to come out.
I know. I'm so stoked.
I'm so proud of you. That's so it's a lot to write a book. It's
a big mission.
Oh, yes.
A big mission. I remember when you were saying I think I'm going to write a book. I'm like, cool. That's a lot of work. That's all I was thinking, but I'm so proud.
I'm glad when I made the choice to move forward. I've always wanted to write a book. It's been on the forefront of my mind for a long time. And when I finally took the plunge to do it this year, I'm really glad I did not know in that moment how much work it was.
Right. Yeah. because you might not have done it.
Yeah.
So.
And you guys have been with me throughout a lot of, I mean, I've shared it on social media too, but you guys have actively been with me as I've been sitting in the same room as you writing this book.
Yeah.
I traveled a lot this year. I traveled to, starting in the winter, we went to Florida together for the in-person podcast. I went to Las Vegas for a bariatric event at Las Vegas Bariatrics Center. I went on a entrepreneurship retreat back in March. There's been a lot of like little trips and stuff. I've been in weddings and things, and through all of the travel, every plane ride, every time I'm sitting in a hotel room, I went to New York City for a long weekend. I was writing there too. Every city I've traveled to, I've been sitting there with my laptop writing this book, which is really special in its own unique way. But it's like, I've really taken it with me every step. And the fact that it's finally like, we are in the last stage right now. We are finishing final, like tiny edits. We are formatting things to upload it to the publishing company. We are getting ready to have it sold online at Amazon, and it'll be sold online. Amazon, Borders, I believe Target, not Borders, Barnes and Noble. Borders is the old.
Yeah. Borders is the one. That's the old school. Borders had my heart.
We love them.
I don't know where that came out of my mouth. Maybe we could edit that part out. Barnes and Noble is what I meant. I'm tired. And I'm really excited. I'm also like really scared because it's hard to put yourself out there. I share a lot of personal things, a lot of vulnerable things. Again, a lot of things that so many people in this world are going to disagree with me on or not like my opinion. And that's really scary. But I know that by staying quiet or not sharing these things or not advocating for our community, we're not helping anyone. And it's truly my mission to help this community get better support and better resources. And that's why I want this book just shared as far as it can go, because the more we can advocate, the more people are going to get help.
Yes. Yeah. I can't wait to see your book at Target, and I'm going to take photos.
I'm going to take
my friend in the back.
It'll be online. I'll take a screenshot. I
want it in person. That's fine. I get a book anyway.
Speaking of it being in person, so the best thing that people could do if they want to support in spreading the word is actually to request it be sold at their local bookstore. Because typically if I'm self-publishing, it will be online for the most part. However, if we get enough requests at local stores, they will keep it in stock too. So anyone who wants to be supportive of getting this message out there, supportive of me, yes, it's always supportive if you want to pre-order the book or purchase it and read it yourself. However, even just requesting your local library or your local bookstore carry it, or even your local bariatric center carry it, is super helpful because we can spread the message way farther.
Yes.
Well, then we'll run that campaign, guys.
Yeah, we're on a new campaign now. Get Jamie's book in all the bookstores.
On top of the advocacy, on top of talking about all of the topics that surround this process, I have very real, tangible resources for bariatric patients to take away. I talk about my bariatric breakthrough meal plate method. I talk about constructing a plate. I go over label reading. I talk about what to look for. I talk about routine. I talk about vitamins. Like I talk about all the things that can be so confusing. And I also, through the book, if you end up reading the book and purchasing it, you will also have access to special resources if you subscribe, in order to get like adjunct resources with this book, including journal prompts, things to work through that I normally give my clients. I also am going to be sharing like a directory to figure out how you can search for an obesity certified physician in your area, all sorts of resources so that people feel really confident. Because it is my hope that people can take this book and really make the most of their journey simply by reading and absorbing all the content that I have in it.
I have a question. Is there an audio version where you do the audio part?
There will be.
Yeah! That's what she's excited about, people. Jamie reading the book to her.
Wait, Mel, does that mean you want to listen to me talk even longer? Because it'll be like 5-6 hours of me talking.
Oh, easy. I can do that.
Okay, great.
Done. I mean, so people that don't know, we actually talked for like an hour and a half before we even did this recording, because that's our MO. Yeah. So I can listen to you all day, my friend.
Yes. And I mean, we're essentially the same person, and she listens to me talk all day. So I think we're good.
And at least I'm getting like super, super valuable information that's been like sourced out. I don't have to do the work. I can actually just read your book and believe you.
Yeah, because we know you and we know you're not going to do wrong.
You're not going to do us dirty, man.
Yeah.
You're not gonna...
Also, literally, one of the things that we've been working really hard on is all of the footnotes and the properly formatting all of the citations, because there is so many like research articles that I consulted with and made sure and like fact checked myself. And you know what's actually been really hard? One of the other things I never thought about, and anything to do with like science or research or nutrition, it's a quickly evolving field and we're always learning something new. Things that I wrote back in the winter have already changed and evolved based on new research studies. So literally just yesterday, I had to update I didn't have to, but I chose to, because there's been new research out about like aspartame. And I talk about like sugar-free options after surgery and why I think they're beneficial for bariatric patients, but with the new research and there's new like fear surrounding them. You best believe I added like 2 more pages in there.
There you go.
That's our girl.
So yes, you can absolutely trust all the sources. And if for whatever reason you have it right there to go and look at yourself if you choose to. But for September, what will be coming out is paperback, hardcover, and ebook. My hope is by this winter, don't quote me, so I don't have an exact time frame, we will have the audiobook. The audiobook will happen after all of this, because the audiobook is going to take quite a bit of time to produce, because it's going to be a very time consuming project, and I plan on narrating it myself. Okay. So that is going to absolutely 100% be in the works. It's just not going to be available the exact moment that the book is available, because that has to happen first.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. I'm totally...
It could happen at the same time, but then the book itself wouldn't be happening till like the winter too. So we're going to get the book out there and then we'll do the audiobook.
I know that I am already purchasing a second copy just for my book, like my bookcase.
Oh, yes.
And then I will have the other one in my backpack with me. So at all times I will be surrounded by your book.
I love it.
Because I'm like, I have to have it up on my bookshelf.
It needs to be in the studio.
Oh yeah, we need one for the studio
so
too.
There you go. We're gonna need multiple.
Yeah. We're gonna be like 10 copies, please.
Thank you.
Handing them out.
Yeah.
I do plan on we're going to be doing lots of promotional options and opportunities for this book. So, like I said, I am building out my street team, which anyone can join my street team, which will be so I'll have the details very soon. And hopefully by the time you're listening to this, I already will have the details. So head to my Instagram page at the Sleeved Dietitian or go to thesleeveddietitian.com to learn more. But the way my street team is going to work is anyone who purchases the book and or requests that it be sold at their local bookstore or library, all they have to do is submit proof of that to me, and they will be opted into my street team. And my street team will have access to behind the scenes, bonus chapters that didn't make it to the final cut of the book, and will also have access to my live virtual launch party. Ooh. And some other goodies too. So I'm really excited. Again, the whole goal is if there's one thing I need help with, and anyone listening to this who wants to help me, what they can do is spread the word. So reshare my social media posts, let your bariatric besties know about it. Let your bariatric surgeons know about it. I just want more people to know that this book and this resource is here so that it makes its way to the people who need it most.
Love it. You're such a great resource in any capacity that you are. And anybody who doesn't know Jamie personally, like she triple checks everything she does. She is very careful. So I'm so excited to read this freaking book.
I'm excited for everybody in the community, and definitely have like your family and friends on board too. Like give them this book, let them know, because what me and Kel, and I know that Jamie has learned, the more support you have around you that understand what you're going through, the more of a successful journey you're going to have.
And I'm going to add, try to understand, because people that don't have surgery will never actually truly understand what we go through. But I think that it's the trying that matters.
Effort, you know, showing that you do care is a big deal.
When you have people, like I know when we first started the podcast, like when my friends and family would listen to it, when our friends and family would, it meant a lot, because it meant they were trying to understand what we were trying to do.
Correct. Yeah.
And they were better understanding of like, oh, that's why you do this. That's why you do this. Like it was the understanding that meant a lot.
Yeah. And again, like I hope that people's loved ones, friends, and family will want to read this book, or if someone is having trouble verbalizing their struggles to the ones that they love, I hope they could direct them to this book, and hopefully I can take that burden off of them a bit. So I can maybe explain to those around you why it's so hard or why it's so challenging in so many aspects.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to advocate for yourself. It's really hard when you feel isolated and alone. And one of the things I talk about often is the reason I do all of this is because my family and my parents and Steve, who's my husband now, but my boyfriend at the time, were super supportive of me. But again, they didn't get it. And I felt very isolated. I felt very alone. I didn't really tell any of my friends, just immediate family. And until I entered this community on social media and started going to local bariatric meetups, I had my surgery not knowing one other bariatric patient in my entire life. Yeah. I didn't know anyone else who had surgery, not personally. I didn't have anyone to talk to or connect with, and it was awful. And I don't want that for anybody else. And, old past versions of Jamie deserved a lot better. I deserved a lot more support than I was given. And if I can give that back to other people, that's, a job well done. And I think about it like last night, in the T.R.I.B.E membership, I go to support groups when I can, even if I'm not leading them. And last night I had time. So I actually went to our pre-op support group with some of our ladies who are pre-op. And what was so beautiful is we had a lot of members there who are beyond being pre-op, but they still go to support those who are pre-op. And there were two ladies in the group. One is having surgery this Thursday. We're in July right now, but she'll already be a month post up by the time she meets this.
That's so cool.
And then another member who's having her surgery August 9th. And to hear them like ask their questions and get the support and hear that they're excited for their journey. They're nervous, but they're excited and they can't wait to share how it goes with us. Like that, like makes me want to cry. Cause I think about the night before my surgery where all I did was bawl my eyes out and cry because I was so scared and alone and nervous and worried I was ruining my life.
Yeah.
And the fact that other people don't have to go through that level of isolation, that's what I wanted for this community, because I didn't get to have that, and no one should be going through this alone when there's so much support available if you're able to seek it out. And while your bariatric surgery center might not be able to provide it, other platforms like, my page, the T.R.I.B.E, this book, our Sleeved Dietitian podcast, the Benchies, all of these, there are really good people in this community trying to do really good things and support people. And I want more people to know that it's here and that there's, on top of the support, there is legitimate resources, because while it's fantastic to have your bariatric besties in this virtual community, not everyone is qualified to give you the guidance. Not everyone is qualified to give you nutrition advice or support. And if I can help clarify things and help make that leg of your journey easier too, I'm more than happy to help whoever needs it.
No,
I love it.
Which is why I'm so glad you're a part of this community.
And our little family.
And our little berry family.
That's right. Well, is there anything else you want to add before we let you go?
She hasn't read the excerpt yet.
That's fair.
Would you like me to read it?
Yes.
Conversation.
Yes. I was like, we're going to end with that.
Oh, okay. We'll end with the excerpt. Perfect.
Excerpt.
What is it?
Excerpt.
Excerpt?
This is the first time I'm reading it out loud.
Is there a P in it?
Yeah.
Expert. Oh.
No. This is the beginning. So my introduction is rather lengthy, but I will read the first little bit of the introduction.
Okay.
That's very relevant to the conversation we were just having. So weight loss surgery is considered the gold standard for treating obesity and achieving long-term weight loss results. Nearly 42% of adults in the United States suffer from obesity. Obesity is linked to over 40 other diseases and premature death. And despite knowing that obesity is a complex and multifaceted disease, it is still largely viewed by society as a moral failing or a willpower issue. Bariatric and metabolic surgery is the most effective treatment for obesity and can reduce risk of premature death by up to 50%. Patients who undergo bariatric surgery are anticipated to lose as much as 60 to 77% of their excess weight in the first 2 years, and on average maintain 50% of that loss over 5 years. However, despite it being the most effective and best known treatment we have available, it is a procedure that is severely underutilized, with less than 1% of the current eligible surgical population taking advantage of this treatment. Why is that? How is it that the most effective treatment we have available for obesity is simultaneously the most underutilized? My guess is that if we had a treatment with this type of success rate for cancer, heart disease, or diabetes, and treating obesity can greatly reduce the risk of these diseases and improve remission rates, everyone would be taking advantage. So this begs the question, why aren't people with obesity getting the most effective treatment available? Some may argue that it's a very dangerous procedure, which would be valid if it was true. Sure, all surgical procedures and medical interventions come with an associated risk. However, as someone who has gone through weight loss surgery firsthand, I have some thoughts on why more people aren't having bariatric surgery. If we push aside the risk factors, access to healthcare, and weight bias and discrimination, which are all certainly at play, there's one major reason I suspect people aren't getting the treatment. I think what it boils down to is shame.
Oh, I like it.
And it goes on to talk more about the shame and all the things, but that is the beginning of the introduction. And it really is trying to figure out why we aren't getting better help. And that's, again, the driving point of this book.
I love it.
I have chills.
I know, I got chills.
I got little goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. We were impressed.
Okay. I could totally see you reading the audiobook.
Right?
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yeah. You have a very calm voice.
And I can't wait till you get passionate about one of the
I have to
sections.
be really mindful of reading because you guys know I talk really fast.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
I also listen to other people's audiobooks at 2.4 times speed because that's how my brain works. So it's really hard for me to slow down. So I appreciate that compliment because I have to try really hard to do it.
Yeah.
No, you were very calm. You were very calming. I liked it.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. And I do think it's going to be even better when you have the passionate one sections go.
Yes.
So this is going to be
When I'm
great.
yelling.
Yeah.
When I'm angry.
That's my
You're
girl.
like, these people are fucking idiots.
Well, that's the part my editor made me take out. I'm kidding. I did not write that.
Although you probably thought it a few times.
Did.
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh my God. That's so good. I cannot wait. So this book will be able to purchase in September.
Yes.
And keep an eye on our page, Jamie's page, the T.R.I.B.E page for all news that pertaining to the book.
Well, seriously, because even our personals too, because we have our link tree in our personals and we will have the link.
I've had it since the beginning.
You
Mel
have to tell
didn't
people?
realize that she could put our link tree in.
I did not know.
She's like, we need to make personal link trees. And I was like, what do you mean? I just have our business one in mine. And she's like, wait, we can do that? Yes, Mel. Yes.
I fixed it.
You did fix it.
So now we can put your book in there and it'll be on all of ours.
Yes.
And then until I have the official link, I don't want anyone quoting me on this because dates can and may change, but I am anticipating the book to be available to pre-order come the very end of August, if not the very first week of September is what I am assuming. Again, head to my page for better updates than this one.
Yep.
But if you go to the link in my bio on my Instagram page or my website, you can subscribe to book updates on my email list. That way you are the very first to be notified when the book comes out. You'll be invited to join the street team. And then of course, once you're on the street team, you'll get even extra special exclusive access to things and virtual live party with me and all that good stuff. So, when in doubt, just head to my Instagram, go to that link in my bio too, and you'll be able to find all the things.
All right.
So proud of you.
Well, guys, you guys all have homework to do.
Yes.
You guys need to go get this book.
Yeah, go sign up for all the newsletter.
Get the reminders.
Yes.
Yes.
All the book information. Keep an eye on all of our pages. Make sure to follow all of our pages. And we are just so proud of you and cannot wait to read this book.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm really scared, but I'm really excited. It's like I can't believe this is like really happening type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's really happening. And one last thing I want to add is for those that don't know, I'm going to announce it here because it'll already be announced by the time this comes out, is the fact that Jamie is a part of the JBY.
She is a sponsor.
She is a sponsor. She's a presenter. She's a nominee.
Yes.
And guess what, guys? For those that watched JBY last year, Jamie won't win 5 awards again.
She took herself out.
She is only in the dietitian.
Yeah, I told Mel and Kellie as much as it has been an honor to be nominated and to win the awards I did last year. It was important to me to not be nominated for those awards again. So other than the dietitian category, which me and Mel went head to head on that. And she said I had to allow people to nominate me for that if they wanted to, because of it being my career. And I said, fine.
She can be very pushy.
I can.
I did make a request to Mel and Kellie, as much as I appreciate people nominating me for other awards. And if you did so, thank you so much. But I did not want to be nominated or in the top nominees for any other category. So it was just important to me.
Yep.
But I will be at JBY again. It was so fun last year. I am trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to wear. I keep going back and forth on the dress that I want. But I'm so excited. Again, make sure you're checking all the updates for that, because I'll be there for the weekend. I will be there for the award show. Obviously, it is my hope that we will be doing our first in-person book signing that weekend. So stay tuned. I don't have exact details on that yet either, because we're still waiting for all the book details. That's the one thing that no one tells you about a book, is sometimes getting everything wrapped up the way you anticipate gets finagled. So,
Same with award shows. Yeah.
So we're just taking it. We're trying to, going with the flow, which I'm not always so great at, but we're working on it.
It comes across.
And that weekend's just going to be so much fun, because we get to experience that again with you and get to see everybody's little happy faces and the excitement throughout. The energy is just insane.
Yeah,
when we're all together.
I have been to a ton of bariatric events in my short little bariatric life, because like I mentioned, even this is pre-COVID times, I had surgery back in 2017. But there were local meetups, which were fantastic for so many reasons, because I met my best friends and the people who are local here to me. But I've been to a ton, but I've never been to one like Just Be You award show. There was something just so heartfelt and authentic and amazing. And it was so fun to get dressed up. It was so great. It was such how do I say, there wasn't this pressure to be anyone but yourself when you were there. I love that you guys were up on stage in your beautiful dresses, but then you were barefoot. You're like, I'm not heels. You just made everyone comfortable. And I felt like it was such a beautiful way to just come together in one space and celebrate everyone and get to be together. And oh my God, the tears that night, especially getting to have my T.R.I.B.E members in person for the first time, or people that had come up to me and are like, oh my God, I was in your tribe and it helped me so much. That just made my world.
Right.
But sometimes when you're just, on your phone, everyone feels so far away, but when you can actually be in the same space, the same city, the same room together, it's truly magical. So
it really is.
I can't wait for that. So hopefully I get to meet so many people there. I will be there. I hope listening to this will be there too. It's going to be fantastic.
It really is. Yeah. So go to jbyawards.com, get your freaking ticket. Right.
You do not want to miss this. We are leveling up this year. There's so much happening.
Oh, don't even worry about that. It's going to be so much fun. Interaction with the actual crowd.
That's what
she's year.
She's on it. She's on it.
I
just go along.
She does.
Anyone who decides to come to the JBY Award show and who purchases a ticket is also going to get an extra special free resource from myself that I created. I created a free guide all about traveling after weight loss surgery, and specifically traveling to in-person bariatric events. I know there's a lot of anxiety that comes up. So not only might you be stressed about maintaining your food routine, making good choices while you're away, knowing what to pack, but just the whole putting yourself out there can be really scary.
Yeah.
So Mel and Kellie allowed me to create this awesome free guide that you can only get if you sign up to come to the JBY Award show. So once you sign up, you'll get that as well. So that's an extra fun little resource that literally nobody else is getting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about the resources.
Yes.
We love it. We thank you so much, Jamie, for all the help that you have done for us and all of us.
We love you. All right. We love you guys, and we will see you next time.